Filmmaking gear can be pretty pricey. But what if I told you there's a place where you can get some pretty good deals on lots of filmmaking gear at cheap prices? I'm actually talking about Temu, which I've been using for a few months now, and I've managed to find some pretty good deals on different filters, threads, and a bunch of filmmaking gear. So let me show you what are my best picks for finding filmmaking gear for both your smartphone and for your professional camera. Let's take a look. So let's start off with smartphone accessories, and right now I have the variable ND filter from Light X, and this is super important if you are planning on taking filmmaking seriously on your smartphone, because this allows you to get the 1/180 degree shutter rule, which is very important to get that cinematic look and to have natural motion blur. So I'm shooting my footage at 24 frames per second, and that means my shutter speed is now 1/50. So what happens is that when I take off the variable ND filter, the shutter speed will be all the way up to compensate for the exposure around me, and that makes the footage a lot more choppier and reduces the motion blur effect that you get from natural video, which is why you need a variable ND filter. So starting off with no ND filter, this is what it looks like. The shutter speed is 1/4000 and our frame rate is at 24 frames per second. You can tell there's not much motion blur as the shutter speed is so high. So now I'm using the variable ND filter, and our shutter speed is now locked at 1/50 and our frame rate is at 24 frames per second. Now, as you can tell, this is giving a much more natural motion blur effect, and it looks a bit more cinematic as compared to having no variable ND filter. Now, the cool thing about finding it on Temu is that most places sell variable ND filters for smartphones at a very expensive price. I managed to pick up this one for a pretty cheap price, so definitely one of the best buys you can get on Temu. Okay, so I found a few more fun filmmaking tools for smartphones, and one of them is this 15-in-1 lens kit. So right now I got the fisheye angle on this phone right now, and it's a pretty cool effect. Like, this is definitely pretty fun and can be used for a lot of different filming techniques, and it's definitely one of the coolest things that you can pick up for pretty cheap. So yeah, this is definitely useful if you want to try some different perspectives, and it's pretty good for vlogging as well. It just gives you a much more interesting perspective, and usually fisheye lenses are pretty expensive, so this is a pretty good find. Now let me show you a few other filters you can do on this thing. Now this is called the radio filter lens, and it's a lot more weirder but could be useful for some situations. Now here are a few shots using the other filters included. This is the photo I took without any filters, and here's the kaleidoscope filter, which gives a pretty cool trippy effect. We have a star filter that gives a hazy effect, and we have a CPL filter that reduces reflections in glass. There's also a lot of UV color filter lenses. So definitely some pretty cool filmmaking tools for smartphones. Let's talk about what you can get for cameras. Before we continue, if you want to check out Temu, make sure to use the link in my description to download the app, and you can get a free $100 coupon bundle. Use the search code DSZ2989 into the search bar, and you can pick one of your items to get for $1.90, and you can also do this in other countries outside of New Zealand. There's actually a lot of filters available on Temu, and I've been using quite a few of them recently. The most useful filter I use is actually the macro lens adapter. It allows my normal lenses to focus much more closer to objects and comes in clutch, as I don't have to buy dedicated macro lens to get close-up shots. Next, we have the step-up rings kit, which comes with a variety of step-up ring sizes so that you can adapt different filters to different lenses. This is useful as you don't have to keep buying filters for each lens, and you can just use these to adapt those filters to your lens. Here we have a star effect filter, which turns light sources into fractional lights, a very cool effect that can be used for a lot of different filmmaking situations. I personally use them to make some of my shots a touch more interesting. There's another variant of this style filter that makes the lights even more fractured. This is handy for spicing out more shots with more lights fractured all over the place. And lastly, we have the soft mist filter, which is a filter I use a lot to create that vintage bloom effect. This helps create a more softer and lighter atmosphere. It can look really cool in a lot of different situations. Two more filmmaking tools that go from Temu. This is a half kaleidoscope, which is pretty useful for doing some pretty cool filmmaking and photography techniques. And I also have this crystal glass. This is also a really cool item for photography and filmmaking. It also has a screw on the bottom so you can attach it to different mounts. And I personally use these a lot for different transitions. They're pretty cool because every time the light passes through them, it comes up with a different light refraction, which does make a lot of the transitions look pretty cool and unique every single time you use them. So these two are pretty cool. They're also pretty useful for photography if you want to get some pretty cool shots. So next we have the cleaning kit for cameras, which is very useful if you are switching lenses and want to make sure that you have all of your camera gear all clean and ready to go. So inside here we've got some pretty good stuff: the cleaning tissue, a lot of cleaning wipes, microfiber cloth. This is super useful. This is for blowing any air away. This is useful for putting in some cleaning solution to spray onto your lenses. And we also have a brush so you can brush off any dust. This cleaning kit is super essential for making sure that your camera gear is always ready and dust free. I also picked up a couple bags. The first one is this messenger bag, which is pretty sturdy, practical, and pretty useful for a lot of things. It looks fancy and is also very functional. It can fit my camera, but it is a little bit of a stretch, so I usually use it for putting my camera gear, like lenses and other microphones and equipment. It has a lot of compartments, a lot of zippers, and also a tripod mount at the bottom, so you can attach some tripods to this bag. I also have another bag, which is just a regular camera bag, but yeah, I got this one for a pretty good price as well. And it also comes with a tripod mount, a lot of different zippers, and also is a lot of padding for camera gear. Now in terms of purchasing from Temu, this is my honest opinion. I've had a pretty good experience and I've ordered quite a few times. Shipping is free and they give you a pretty good time frame of about 2 weeks from when you order. And if for whatever reason your order gets delayed or doesn't show up, they'll give you a credit or refund your order. And they're pretty quick and pretty good about it, so I wouldn't worry about buying from Temu. So if you haven't tried Temu before, I would recommend taking a look and seeing what you can get on there. Like what I've got here, there's some pretty good gear for filmmaking and all sorts of different accessories for mobile phones and cameras, all on the website at pretty good prices. Now make sure to use the link in my description to get that coupon bundle, and also use that search code so you can get one of your items for $1.90 or whatever it may be in your region. So that wraps up my video. This was made in collaboration with Temu. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.